Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One of his advocacy to be a global nomad, and no other than Mr. Kevin Cottam.
Hello there, Daniel.
Welcome, Mr. Kevin, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Okay, so it's who am I? I'm from Canada and I live in Singapore. I've lived on four continents in 15 major cities, visited over 60 different countries, and that is not necessarily the nomad, but it can be part of the nomadic life as well. I come from a history of elite sport in figure skating as an elite choreographer and as a champion back in the dark ages. And I worked with national world Olympic champions in very large productions, such as the closing ceremonies of the Olympics in '88. I was the director and choreographer. So my life has quite diverse and shifted a lot. I'm now an executive and leadership coach, and I speak globally on the nomadic mindset and also on leadership. So that is what I do these days, and also take multinational organizations on leadership journeys, which are very nomadic in its essence and the basis of it. So to help them develop their culture in a much more open and adaptable way, so that they are much stronger in their essence of leadership as well as an alignment towards their North Stars.
Much stronger, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Kevin. Thank you. So today, let's talk about what is the nomadic mindset.
Yeah, this is a typical question that is asked of me on an ongoing basis. What is that? And everyone says, "Oh, yeah, I love to travel, so I must have a nomadic mindset." And I say, "No, that's not necessarily true.
No.
Not necessarily true." And so what happens here is the nomadic mindset is not necessarily geographic. When I was in Mongolia doing research for my book, The Nomadic Mindset, I never settled for too long. I went and looked at three different cultures, nomadic cultures in Morocco, in Mongolia, and also with the Maasai in Kenya. And then I did an add-on to in Namibia, and that was very interesting as well. And I also interviewed a variety of different leaders because it's a leadership book, and I wanted to know about mindset and how would the nomadic mindset be, and what is it? What are the attributes to it? And so, what was very interesting was that what is the nomadic mindset is that when I was in Mongolia, I asked a woman, "What is the true meaning of nomad?" And she said, "It's not what you think it is." And I went, "Oh, that's cool. What is it?" And she said, "It's the movement of the mind, the movement of the mind, and the movement of the mind." So I thought, well, this is a very different look at what is the meaning of nomad. And this is what the nomadic mindset is that movement, is understanding that internal and external movement to you is very holistic and mindset. And it's really focuses on curiosity, adaptability, flexibility, openness, seeing opportunities in all avenues, and being very strategic at times, and also very playful at times. But it's also very creative, and it is the nomad mindset. From what my research has seen, is that leaders say that this is the mindset is most needed today and moving forward in this uncertainty, the rise of AI and all of the different aspects of the world today, which is in a major shift and change. And especially for the younger generations, Gen Zs, millennials, this is a place that nomadic mindset is something that is, I think, very ripe for them. And it's also very nature based. So it is very much linked to nature, as nomads are very linked to nature, and as all that we are all one. And so that is what it is.
Nomadic mind. Well, thank you for that inspirational answer, Mr. Kevin. The nomadic mindset is often tied to travel, but it's fundamentally about physical movement. Or is it internal state of being, a way of thinking that can be applied anywhere?
It's an internal state of being. It's the movement of the mind. It is also based in movement. And when I say movement, the movement inside, the movement outside. So whether you're physically moving, physically traveling, this is all part of the parcel of a nomadic mindset. And I say, when people travel, my belief is that the nomadic mindset is really one that is interconnected with the people of the country. So, for example, you go to a new country, you just don't stay with your own people, that you integrate with everyone else, that you learn the languages, you learn the principles, the rules of the land, because when you travel, you're a guest. And as a guest, it's like being a guest in somebody's home. How do you respond? How do you behave? How do you react? Respond to different things. So the nomadic mindset is this movement, and it's quite wonderful to understand movement in this particular sense.
Movement indeed. And Mr. Kevin, if you had to distill the nomadic mindset down to one core principle, what would it be? Is it adaptability, curiosity, or something else entirely?
I'd say it's the movement of the mind, and that encompasses everything, all the behaviors, all the ideas, all the thoughts, the values.
So, how can someone with a 9 to 5 job and a mortgage in a cultivate nomadic mindset to enrich their life and career?
Yeah, I mean, they people, you know, I'll just go back a little bit here, and then more history is that in my book I talk about not just the nomadic mindset. I talk about the two other mindsets: the builder mindset and settler mindset. And really, we have all three of these mindsets living inside of us, and we have a choice which one we wish to use at any time in our world. And the thing is that most people get stuck in one or the other, and we have a dominance for one more than another, as many psychometrics talk about. So we this particular aspect of how does people develop a nomadic mindset is about, there's very different ways of waking up in the morning. Is that first of all, you one of the quotes that I have from Mongolia is that nomads think vastly, act narrowly. So this is about not most of us wake up in a very narrow state of mind. And in the aspect of this is that it's important for us to be able to be wide thinkers. So the here is it's about seeing the width, seeing all the possibilities, all the opportunities, all the ideas, all the conversations, all the connections. See all of this and then narrow in on what you want to focus on, or your strategy or your concept or your work or whichever, but it's having a bigger view first before you slide into, mm, you know, micro thinking. So that is one way to do it. It's also to be very open to connections and connecting to people, seeing people, uh, talking with them, being curious about who they are, not just talking about ourselves. It's about finding out about others, about finding out about other projects at work, finding out about how can I extend my own talent, how can I also develop my own talent more than what I do, and what are truly the lessons that I've learned inside of myself, and how do I express those. So the nomadic mindset is really about an internal journey, and it is also an external journey as well. So it is about allowing yourself to be able to be very flexible and see a different world in what you do. So I think this is extremely important as well in developing a nomadic mindset.
Mr. Kevin, the resilience engine, how does constantly navigating the unfamiliar, from new culture to logistical hurdles, rewire your brain to become more resilient in the face of all types of adversity.
Yeah, resilience is very important. I mean, if I look at nomadic cultures, for example, or indigenous cultures, they're incredibly resilient in the sense that survival is on their line, right? And they wake up in the morning, and it's where they're going to have their milk, or where they're going to eat, or how will they live. But they're very happy at this point in time. So what I see, but they're very resilient. They change, they say, is change is happening all the time. So why are you bothering about the concept of change? It's just happening. Go with it. The more you fight it, the more difficult it is for you. It's about seeing it as a bigger expansion of you. And it's so, you know, being resilient is really it's about hard knocks in many ways. Is how do we bounce back? And it's about that is linked to change and trusting in yourself that you have the ability to move through it and to gain, if you've fallen down in your life or your work or fired, is that you can bounce back, is you're resilient, is that, and with a nomadic mindset, it allows you to not get stuck into the negativities, into the stuckness and the blockages, because they see these. When I talk to nomadic culture in Mongolia or with the Maasai in Kenya, they think that we are so blocked in the West because we don't open up our minds. We just carry too much data and information, which is not necessary for us. So they see change as a very different way than we do, and they. I thought that I was very silly, actually, in many ways, because I kept on wondering, what do they mean? Because I must really not be thinking properly at all. So hopefully
So,
that.
Mr. Kevin, does the nomadic mindset require us to redefine the concept of home? What does the home become when it's not a fixed address?
Home. I mean, it depends on what you mean by home. Uh, Home, coming to yourself, coming to your purpose, coming to that is home. Uh, but a physical home, for example, people ask me, where is my home? And I say, my home is where I lay my head at night. And that is the simplest way that's where my home is. When I go and visit friends and I go out, and some people ask me, where am I going? I go, oh, well, I'm going home. And so wherever I stay is home to me, and I make it as home. And uh, I believe that home is not just one stationary place. You can make your work as home. You can make your physical abode where your family is home. You can make your inside of you as home. Home is a very different concept to me, and also to uh, generally nomadic cultures. I mean, most nomadic cultures are very sedentary now. They're very settled because they're not allowed to roam due to government policies, and they would prefer to move. I mean, in Mongolia, for example, they are nomadic because they change with the season, just like animals change with the season. By birds migrate for season, is that they will go where the animals go, and they will go where they need to survive with their animals. So it's a seasonal shift for nomadic cultures, and that's where they call home. It's wherever they will be.
Mr. Kevin, how has technology fundamentally changed the accessibility and nature of the nomadic mindset today versus 50 years ago?
That's a very good question. I think that, personally, this is my opinion, is that the technology has allowed us to be more expansive because we have to do a new learning process. And if you resist the technology, which I do at times, unfortunately, because I get afraid of it in some ways, but it is a real helper in many ways as well. So it's about the learning. It's about being not afraid to learn and to jump into new experiences. I think that technology is one way that if you apply your nomadic mindset, you can certainly become much more adept. For example, AI. I enjoy working on AI, and it's an exploration of creativity for me as to how do they come up, like for example, chat. How do they come up with so many wonderful sayings and that I probably would never have figured out, or quotes or metaphors or whatever that I would never have thought of. And so it's helping to expand my thinking at the same time. And so this is nomadic in that if you are truly a settler, it might be more difficult because you get stuck in the learning process, or you get stuck in one way of thinking. And that is not being very adaptable. So with the nomadic thinking, it allows us to move faster. And actually, it's more of um, the nomadic is a very variable tempo, I would say, of movement. So it's like a symphony. It goes from very slow to very fast, and it can be very different for most people. And so it's being used to this dance, this rhythm. And in that, when we talk about technology, is that there is a rhythm to our learning at the same time. And how do we want to learn? So, nomadic allows us the openness to explore. And before, I mean, there was nomadic, we've always had nomadic. It's part of our DNA, is inside of us, is to be, able to move mentally and as well as physically. And it is certain systems which have stopped us, and cultures that have stopped us in many ways. So that's a bit of
Well, thank you for that great answer, Mr. Kevin. So, as a global nomad as well as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
my short-term goals. My short-term goals are to continue to work on, and long-term goals really are on the nomadic leadership journey. And that is something that I take to organizations and develop this journey with them to open, to become more aligned to their North Star. And that is really what I focus on. And my health is an important factor. Being in nature is an ongoing quest to find nature for me and to be in nature. And that's a long term goal always. And to travel to some new bucket spots in my life. For example, next year I would like to go to Bhutan and spend a bit of time there. I'd like to also, and what comes up for me is to swim with the whales in Tonga. And I would like to do a little bit more research around water and what is that to do with leadership. That is something that's a longer term research.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Kevin. Looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a nomad as well as an author like you?
I think the biggest thing is to follow your heart. I mean, that sounds pretty cliche, but it's exactly what I've done since the very beginning of my life. And I realized that only by connecting the dots of my life, that I've always been a nomad since a young child in so many ways, that I was curious about geography, history, and being able to go to different places. And that is one is physical, but also in creativity. That is one thing that brought me through this. And so I think that you need to stay open, and that is one of the things that I've learned a lot. And connect, definitely connect, not only to nature, but also to your nature and to the nature of others and situations.
Yes, people connect because we are interconnected, even the universe.
Absolutely.
And and thank you for that advice, Mr. Kevin. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, I think that there's a few books that I really, really like that have helped me at the different parts of my journey. One of them is called The Artist's Way, when I thought that I was really stuck and I had been fired from a big job. And I thought that it was the end of my life and creativity. And I did The Artist's Way, which brought me to a very different way of looking at my life. And and also I found my guru, and so I started meditation at the same time from that. But it led me to working very differently, and always looking at my heart and talking to my heart first of all before I make any decisions around a particular job. And another one that I like very much is by Deepak Chopra, and it is called the seven spiritual laws of success. And that is sort of a daily read. I think I've read it probably over 100 times, and I love it. And every time I read it, I go, have I read this before? It's one of those books that I find something new every time I read it, and it's one of the major ones. So those are two books that I believe have helped me an awful lot in my life, and so yeah.
Thank you for that recommended books, Mr. Kevin. So, what is the most creative or resourceful solution you have to develop while living nomadically, and how has the skill translated to other areas of your life?
If I understand you correctly, um, that's an interesting question, and I hope I answer it correctly. But as I said before, I think that one of the things that has been my openness to cultures, my openness to people, my openness to the curiosity of people of all races, all sorts of, all countries, all languages, all foods, all of these things is my curiosity. And I believe that that's one thing that is important is people and and the land that people come from, is to find out more. For example, I can give an example. When I was teaching as a figure skater, I had to go to Kelowna once, and um, I was staying at a home where the people were Japanese, and I was fascinated about their culture, and I learned some Japanese from them, and I just found it so interesting. I just wanted to know more and more about Japan and the Japanese culture. And this is what I'm like. And when I was in Fiji, I got invited to stay with the Fijians in their bura, in their little hut. And I said, yes, yes, yes. And that is what fascinates me, is the people. And I think that that is what has made my life much easier, much more open, and much more accepting. And it also has built strength as well.
Mr. Kevin, is it nomadic mindset a permanent state or a phase? Can you settle down without feeling like you've lost a part of yourself?
I mean, first of all, I say that all three mindsets are very much inside of you. And at different times in our life, we may become more settled and then more nomadic, because we are stationary in one place. But as I say, it is, you can be settled in one place, in a geographic place or in a home, but it doesn't mean to say that you're not nomadic in your thinking and the ways of being. So people, like people in their lives, they fluctuate. We go through different cycles. It's like the seasons. And so I would say that you can fluctuate between a nomad, builder, and settler in one conversation. And so you can shift, and that is an adaptability. But it's about not getting stuck in one. It is about the choices that we can make and understand that we can. And, if we're settled for a long time, well, okay. But I mean, the point is that settling for too long doesn't allow you to stay open as much as you can. You need to be a little bit itchy, as I say, for more knowledge, for more destiny, more discovery, more exploration. And that doesn't mean just travel. It means exploration and ideas and thoughts and positions of in your job or even sectors. It's about getting itchy to explore. So yes, it
With
can
the
happen.
Yes, so Mr. Kevin, with the climate change as pressing issue, how does responsible nomadic mindset reconcile a love for exploration with a duty to minimize one's carbon footprint?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. As I said before, is that if you are going to travel, is to be very conscious of the carbon footprint, and it's also to be very conscious when you go to another country as to the footprint that you have in that country, but also to be very sustainable in the way you use product, the way you don't just throw trash and everything around. It's that you're very conscious of how you are living in that particular country, but it also the nomadic, again, as I said, is that it's in many ways it's a sustainability into itself, in that it's very connected to nature, and so therefore it's very conscious. People that are have this nomadic thoughts, I have found are very interconnected with what's happening with not only climate change but nature itself. And so we there is this I mean, for example, I take people forest bathing so that they can understand what's happening to the forest, and to understand what it's like, what it does for our mental health. And that, I think, is part of doing the due diligence of educating people about forests and about why we need them, and why we are, the why climate change is slowly wiping them out, or even countries are slowly wiping them out as well because they need more land for to build these big buildings. Um, we need nature, and so this is part of my push anyway, and that's part of my reasoning. And even with the organizations I work with, I also push the old concept of nature for them, and also I take them into nature, and so that they understand it a little bit more as to how important it is, not only for their mental well-being and for their it is also a teacher, it's a mentor, it's a guide. And what if you didn't have this? And so I feel that I can always do more. um, i I donate to rainforest trusts to help sustain the forests in the world. So I feel that I'm doing a lot. However, I can always do more, always more, right? So
Yes.
I think that it's a mindset as well that is integrated with the nomadic mindset. It's understanding. It's also integrated with the builder and settler if you want to go there. But it's really consciousness, and this consciousness of what is important, not only for us now but for the future generations. I mean, we have I believe, an imperative to leave something for the younger generations and the generations that are not arrived yet, to have something to flourish in a beautiful planet.
A beautiful planet indeed. So, Mr. Kevin, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 are in fourth season. I'm a baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, as well as my Bible Verses 101, and a Science 101 and Sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Kevin, what is the biggest misconception people have about the nomadic mindset, and what is the truth you wish they understood?
Yeah, the biggest misconception is that one is that they're afraid of being a nomad and they don't know really what it means. And also they think that it's all about travel. And that is the biggest one. Oh, I love to travel. No, 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 no. It's not necessarily true. It's not all about travel. Depends on how you travel and how you respect your travel and what you do. So that is the biggest misconception, I would say. Otherwise, most people are very eager to find out and eager to open it up inside of themselves. And they find it very playful at the same time as to find something new. But because of the three um, mindsets that I have, it's kind of a system in its way, is that people realize that it opens them up because they see they have choices in the way to think. And I think that is also important, is for them to see, okay, it's not one way or the other, that I can move back and forth between them. And as long as we keep ourselves moving, just as you, when you saw, I mean, I see all of these different, my God, 101s, all your podcasts. I'm going, my God, you move like crazy. I mean, you are moving all over from one idea to another. Fantastic, Daniel. I mean, I've never seen this before, but amazing.
Thank
You're
you, Mr. Kevin. Thank you, thank you. And likewise, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you, thank you. And can you please invite our listeners to support your books, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
certainly. Please come. If people want to connect with me, they connect with me on LinkedIn under my name, Kevin Cottam, and also my website, thenomadic.mindset.com. And yeah, just share what you want to share. Connect with me. I'm happy to have a conversation.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Kevin Cottam, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books about nomad will rise, and for sure more and more empowering advocacy to come. So Mr. Kevin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate it very much. And let us connect when I'm in Vancouver, which I'll be back soon.
Yes, let's connect. More to come, people. See you soon.
I will see you. I'll be there for Christmas and New Year.